Yep.
Hi, this is Jim with Laser Key Products here, going to show you what you do once you have your 3D Pro Xtreme machine out of the box and on the table. And you have to do certain steps in order to get it ready to start cutting keys. We've got the machine all set up. We have hooked in the power supply right here. We've hooked in the COM port here with the thin screwdriver. On the back of the machine we have got the USB hooked up and into the computer over here, and we also have our emergency power stop button has been turned and popped out. With the power cord hooked up and the USB and your COM connection made here and this power emergency switch button popped out, you should be ready and the machine should immediately connect and start your software. With everything now hooked up to your machine, your power supply, your USB, and your emergency stop button released, you can click on your software or double click, whichever the case may be. Don't confuse the execution file with your PDF manual. And once you've done that, it will come up and it should see a blank screen like this for several seconds. This indicates that it is in fact finding the software, and at what point that it does find it, you will see here that the machine will pull back, pull out, and it's now ready to go. So first thing you want to do is take off your little sponge device and save that for later shipping if it has to come back. Raise your tracer. At this point we send the machine out with a calibration tool in place instead of the cutter. The cutter comes separately. So what you want to do now is go into the calibration process. You go to the software, click on operations, calibrate cutter, and what I'm going to do, since I want to do jaw 1, is put in the number 1 and hit OK. Make sure that this jaw is open all the way so it'll touch down correctly. You don't want it touching on the top of this jaw. It touches there, goes to the left, touches there, comes down to the front and backs up, and that puts it in a completion mode. Next it'll go into about a 30-second turn down here where it is configuring and updating in progress. It'll say OK. And that portion of the system is now complete. Next thing I want you to do is go to operations, calibrate cutter, and this time we're going to do jaw 3. We do jaw 3, say OK, and again it'll now go over and it's going to come down and it'll touch off on the very far edge of the jaw. It'll go to the right, touch that, it'll come to the front, drop down and over, back up, and now that portion of it is complete. And once again, it is in an update in progress, 30 seconds or so. Once it's done, you can click on OK, and that's done. Now the next thing we want to do is jaw 2, which is your regular standard rotating cutter here. And what you have to do is on the back side of the jaw, you have two stops, tip stop and your shoulder stop. You want to leave the tip stop down, but you want to bring the shoulder stop up approximately a quarter to half an inch away, because this cutter over here is going to touch off on that on the flat side as part of the calibration process. So again, you go back to your software, calibrate cutter. This time we're going to put in jaw 2. Jaw 2's in there, say OK. And we're going to do something a little different here in respects that it will touch off onto the front. It comes over and touches off on this shoulder stop here. And once it does that, again, it goes back home. Make sure you lower your shoulder tip stop. Goes through the 30-second update. And once it's done, you can say OK. The next thing we're going to do in completing the calibration process is we want to lower your tracer tower down, and you want to go to your software and you say operations, calibrate tracer, and again this is jaw 1, and you click put number 1, click OK, And again, the machine will go into the process of coming down, touching off, going right, touching off, coming forward and now shifting over, and touching off. Goes back to the home position, which you should always do. And again, a 30-second process here. And once it's done, we click OK. And the next thing we'll do is tracer for jaw 3. So this one's complete. Same process, back up to operations. Okay, now we're going to do the calibration on tracer 3, and you select 3 and click OK. And now it's properly calibrated. Going through the master setup, update in progress, 30 seconds, and that'll be done. And you basically have the machine all set up and ready to run at this point.